episode of True Tales, we are going to discuss angels. Yes, one of the nicest parts of spiritual phenomena. I don't know if anyone's had a negative experience with an angel. From all the stories I have heard, near death experiences and harrowing experiences, no one's ever said an angel's done them harm. I feel that angels are the firefighters of the spiritual realm. Everyone likes a firefighter, everyone likes an angel. So let me tell you my story with the angel I saw as a girl. So when I was growing up, my parents fought all the time. And I can also tell you the story of how I chose my parents, but that's for another true tale. So my parents fought all the time, and they usually fought at night because obviously they were not at work, they were not in other places, and they were sequestered at home. And they always fought at night on clockwork. And their fighting was very violent. It was scary. It was a horrible time in my life. I remember thinking, I can't wait to be out of this place. And it felt like I was in a prison sentence every single time these people would fight, because not only did they fight, but then the next morning it was just neglect. Like there was no parents home, they were not there, and if they were awake, they were very nasty and they took that out on us. So one night my parents were fighting. It was really terrible, and I was kind of that person who would always watch them fight. I was like the referee. I would just watch. I was always the one who watched it. So I, as an adult, do not like watching violent things. I don't like watching people fight. I don't like watching any of that because I spent most of my childhood watching two adults like idiots fight all the time. And I don't just say with nasty words and bad names and vicious, vile criticisms. I mean physical fighting, throwing things at each other, beating each other up, hitting each other, pushing each other around. I grew up with that. So you can imagine that as a child, in my lifetime story of a childhood, I'm watching these two adults who are my parents, who are supposed to be making a safe and loving environment, create a chaotic, violent environment. And one night they were fighting, and it was really bad. And I'm in my bedroom, which is in the middle of the house. I grew up in a Habitat for Humanity house. And my mom was crying in the back room, and my dad was in the front of the house. She was in the back room in my twin brother's bedroom. And she's crying really bad. And this was after a really nasty fight, domestic violence experience. And I am just absolutely terrified. It is an experience like no other to be a 10-year-old girl, 11-year-old girl, just shaking in fear because you have no idea if your dad is going to kill your mom or your mom's going to commit suicide. You just have no idea. I can't paint a bleaker picture that I had to live with as a child, that this happened over and over. And in this evening, she's crying in the back room really bad, and I'm afraid she's going to get violated again, and my dad's going to go back there and cause even more harm. And I am laying under my bed. So here's the twin bed. There's a door, and I'm laying under my bed to watch if my dad's feet are going to go back to the back room so he could hurt my mom again. And I am at my wit's end. It's almost like psychologically you feel as a child like you're going to break. You can't handle this level of violence anymore. It's like I'm at my threshold of crises, psychological crises. And I look under the bed, and I'm laying there, laying under the bed, and I'm looking under the bed, and I see this huge pair of feet walking by my door. And when I say huge pair of feet, I mean like this big, probably 2 feet wide each foot, 2 feet long. And they walk by, boom, 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 past the door. These feet had old-timey sandals, like in the Roman days, just like leather sole and then tie, perfectly manicured toes. And what I saw just like trailing the foot was a robe, like a white linen-esque type robe, walking past my door. And as this foot, within the sequence of time that these feet would go to the back room, all of a sudden, my mom's wailing and moaning and sobbing goes silent. And this blanket of peace and serenity just is almost like you could imagine a fume. If somebody was fumigating the house, it just, or a cloud just descended. But it was this cloud of peace, and it descended over the atmosphere of the house, and it penetrated in me. And something inside of me was immediately at peace. And then I was able to sleep. And I kept that memory to myself for a very long time. A very, very, very long time. Probably 15 plus years. I don't even know. A long time had passed. And one day I'm talking with my mom, and I tell her about that night. And I say to my mom, do you remember that night when you guys were fighting and you were in the back room? And my mom just stops me and she said, yes, I remember, I was praying. And then a peace just came over me. And all that fighting that night had stopped. There was no more fighting. So she verified and remembered with specificity that evening, which out of hundreds of nights of them fighting, she knew exactly what night I was talking about. So that for me, with my own two eyes, I'm 10, 11 years old. And yes, in a psychological crisis, I saw that. I remember being a girl and like doing this, like a little kid does. I'm like, what did I just see? I remember wiping my eyes and like looking hard again. And I was 100% sure and certain of what I had seen. I am so certain of what I have seen. I know I can close my eyes and I can describe to an artist what those feet look like. I could probably draw it myself if I had enough ability to draw human anatomy. So that, for me, is the experience that I say I saw an angel. Now, some people will go, well, how do you know it was an angel? I just knew it was. You know what I mean? When it's like you're seeing a dog, that's a dog. You're seeing a cat, that's a cat. I mean, it was like, that is an angel. And it was big. And it was interesting because I do remember just recently, as I was contemplating this story and wanting to tell this to all of you, I had seen a near-death experience and somebody had described their version of the angels in the exact same way that I had seen them. And then I had shared the same story on another account about angels, and another woman said, I saw that too. So maybe what I saw is a ubiquitous, it is the way they look. It, and when you talk about the race, it was a pair of white feet. It was not any other color. But I will say, I don't believe that angels are only white. But I can't say it was white like a person. Let me correct myself. I would say it was like white like light. That's how I saw it. It wasn't white like a white person. It was white like light. So I want to just make that clear because I do not feel from the depths of my being that angels are only like white people. That's the silliest thing that I could say. But these feet were not like human feet where they were just like skin tone. They were luminous, white, light, light. So that's a mind trippy experience. I don't think that I'll ever forget that. It's so vivid to me. It feels like it just happened. It just happened last night. So in the years after that, I really come to be very open minded about people's accounts about angels and their stories. And I do feel that angels do come in all shapes, sizes, and colors to help us when we most need them and when we call for them. I do believe, from my own experience, when we are in crisis, we do have to cry out for help. I think we do because we need to feel that connection to, I wouldn't say external forces, but the force of love. and let it transform by grace our situations. So I am so glad that I live in a home where we do not feel like that. We are peaceful and we are joyful. And Edgar Casey said in an Akashic reading, make your home as such where an angel would want to dwell. And I love that message, that it has to be a home of peace and joy. And I don't think that we should live our lives in a way where angels have to intervene because we are just so violent and cruel to each other. So that's my experience with angels. I don't believe in angels. I've seen an angel. So I think my final thought is I'm not here to tell you what to believe. I'm here to tell you experience. Live life and live it to the fullest and have as many experiences as you can so you can know things. Not believe things, but know things. So that's my story with angels. I hope that you enjoyed this story. If you have had an experience with an angel or angels, please put them in the comments and share your stories with me. I would love to know. I'm Leslie Juvin-Acker, and this is True Tales.